design sprint for a second, and we're gonna move on to the next step in the once we're done with one of the talks. So how is this entire exercise like? Does anyone want to talk about this? Quick feedback.
I would say it was like exceptional, you're taking 9 classes, I would have to do different things, thinking about that. I think it was a good thing, honestly.
Okay. Any learning from anybody else? This table?
I think we all came to the middle conclusion that we were not thinking that much.
Not recognized,
Yeah.
Okay.
We were like, we had other priorities back then, so not careers.
We were just talking about it, and we were thinking that this generation is actually successful, or maybe we were successful in breaking so many taboos that they are not facing the same problems as we were facing when we were young. So there's a lot more clarity on their ends, and then there is support of the parents. Like they're open to more options, which back then maybe they were not even aware of.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. And we're gonna do the next step in a bit. But first we did an interview on the tables. We're gonna witness another interview right now. So we're gonna have Mohammaed Mekki, who's gonna interview Ali Azfar, who was also once a ninth grader, just like we were, but now he's serving as a CEO. So I'm not gonna give more introductions. We're gonna let the interview happen, and so it's gonna be over to Mohammaed Mekki. So let's take it from there.
All right, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I guess we don't have a video feed, but maybe that's just on my end, right, Ali? Or
I can
both of
see
us
you.
can.
We can't see
Here we
Design
go.
Lab.
We can't see
Yeah.
Design Lab. Okay.
I
How are you?
think they
Okay.
turned it on a little disco.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Very good. Well, it's a pleasure to be back with DYZ. I guess it feels like just a couple months ago, but I think back in January when I was in Karachi and had an opportunity to meet the students, and now it's my honor and pleasure to be able to interview Ali. Ali, we're gonna learn about each other real time. I think it'll make it more more real for everyone. I've been doing a lot of research and thinking about the importance of learning from masters, and meaning people who have walked the walk and been experienced and done with their lives amazing things, and be able to kind of extract from that some lessons and takeaways for all of us. So that's what I hope to do in our half an hour together here. Wonderful. So what we know about you is that you're running an oil company in Uzbekistan, right? So
Yes.
I would love to maybe we start there, because that's something like, was that something ever on your radar, or would you ever imagine yourself living in Uzbekistan?
Not at all. I absolutely not about Tashkent per se. So I work for an independent energy company, United Energy Group. So we started off in Pakistan actually back in 2011, and grew the company in some other geographies, Iraq, Egypt, and Bulgaria. Then a couple of years back, we came across an opportunity here. So we came and we worked on that, but found it not good enough for our involvement. So we walked away. But then the government asked us for some help. They said that you had worked on that opportunity. Can you tell us what you learned, so that at least we can see if it would work in our favor or not? So we said, sure, we'll give you some technical insights on what we learned in the assets. So they then applied that learning and got good results. Then they offered us a much larger project to rejuvenate some of their mature fields, because Uzbekistan was, I think it's 35 years old. For most of its life, it was an energy exporter, but now it's a net energy importer. And with the rising prices, it's very difficult for the economy to sustain unless they actually develop indigenous resources. So they asked us to work on their mature gas fields and some exploration blocks. It was a fairly large contract, project rather. So we worked with the government for almost 6-7 months. But then, unfortunately, everyone was fired because of some other scandal. And a completely new management and a completely new government body showed up. And they don't want to work with external companies. So we had a definitive agreement. And these are the challenges in working in areas where the law and the jurisdiction is not very well defined. So we're still working with them, and now they are again inclined to work with us, maybe under different terms. But I won't say on the site, but since we were here, we then worked with some private companies, and we are progressing those projects. But we're
So
still engaged with the government.
yeah, no, it sounds like quite the journey to get there. Let's go back though. So
Yes.
you were. I mean, I understand. You know that you started. Your high school back in Peshawar. You
Yes.
finished high school in Islamabad. Okay, so let's go back to those days.
Yes.
What were you hoping to be when you grew up?
So yeah, I mean, not much actually, to be honest. I never took myself seriously. Still, I don't take myself very seriously. So I started schooling actually in Quetta because my father is a geologist, and he was working in various areas. So I started, like, my nursery was in Quetta, which I don't remember much. Then we moved to Peshawar, and over there I did my basic schooling, and then I went to Islamabad. And I was like everyone else. I was told that engineering is good, so let's do engineering.
Yeah.
I ended up doing FSC, missed it by this much, as far as the entry criteria for the top university was required. So then decided to rather go towards business. There was no BBA at that time, so I ended up doing BCom. Then applied for an MBA program in Lahore. Couldn't get scholarship, got in. So at that time, I wanted to support myself rather than asking for money. So then I changed the field. A lot of my friends were doing CA. I thought, let's do CA, but rather than CA, I started doing the British course, which is called CIMA or CMA. And I got my first job then. And
So tell us what CMA is for those who don't know.
well, you can call it chartered management accountant or cost and management accounting. Interestingly, I've never worked a single day in accounts, so don't ask me too much about it. It's just a qualification that got me in. I know more about subsurface geology than accounting. So that's about
So
it.
what I want to know about is okay. So you started
Become an
you were in high
accountant, yes.
school. You were an accountant. You were doing like maybe MBA, accounting, all these things in your mind. And then we're into like geology and all that. Like something happened in between, right? So something happened, and I want to know about that, the shift and the what, the who of that journey. So where was the beginning of this shift where Ali took a different road?
Yeah, so like I said, my skills are just, like I said, are okay. I'm reasonable accountant, I would say. I can do reasonable business things, but I guess I was always good with people. So when I started doing CMA, my classes were in the evening, and so I thought, let's find a job. Opened up a newspaper, and literally first or second ad was for a NGO. They were looking for a communications manager. So I said, well, that fits my profile.
Okay.
Ended up for an interview without any experience or any reference, and was fairly young at that time. So I guess they took pity on me or something, and they said, okay, we'll give you a chance. So they hired me, and that was the only job interview I've ever given. So
Wow. And
yeah, I'm
what
not.
pushed you to do that? I mean, what I mean, you had no background in NGO. You had no, I mean,
I
what
just
gave
wanted
you
the
that?
money. So
Yeah.
it's like, just have a little bit more than a pocket money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just went there, and they said, okay, if you can produce our magazine, You know,
Okay, but magazine production at an NGO is still quite far from leading an oil company.
yeah.
So
So started
what
off.
happened next?
I mean, I was just basically earning some money and doing my studies, and then a friend of mine told me that an oil company, in a British oil company, Premier Oil, they had hired a consultant, an American consultant, and he's setting up a shop, a consulting shop, and he needs someone to do his accounts. So why don't you switch and do him? I met him on a
Ah,
trek. So I met the gentleman on a trek, and we talked about what he's doing. He was a very interesting guy. Married a Pakistani, a Harvard grad, wanted to work on the Pakistan energy sector. Had earlier studied public policy and God knows what. Half the world thought he was a spy. Still thinks. Um, but anyway, so we were on a trek, and he was an avid bird watcher. So we hit it off well. So he said, "Okay, why don't you join my company and come take a look what it is?" And there was no office, so we were literally
but
working
hold on a
from.
second. Hold on a second. This is the very no because I love this anecdote. Maybe we dig a little bit deeper because I mean, in life we maybe intersect with interesting people and different. It's one thing to meet somebody, and it's another thing at the end of it for them to be like,
Yeah.
I want you, I want to hire you. What happened? Tell us more about how you recognize that this is somebody who you really wanted to, build a deeper relationship with. Because I think mentors and like the who is so important, of like people open up doors for us
Yeah.
along the way. So tell us more about that relationship, how you took it, and how it might have shaped you.
So it started not. I mean, he's definitely a mentor for me. He was. I mean, he's deceased now, but I basically joined him because I needed to work in accounts. I was studying accounting and finance. So I said, a company is being set up. Let me see if I can set up the taxes, set up this, blah, blah, blah. So went there. They said, we don't have an office. I said, well, that's a start. They were sitting half the time in Premier Oil and half the time in other places. And we were looking for an office. That was my first job as a thing. But like, there was no formal interview process or anything. We just decided on a track that is going to work for me. And that's going to be the salary. And so I started working with them. But since I was sitting in Premier Oil, I started studying his work, which was for gas commercialization in Multan area gas fields. And at that time, he was thinking about putting a specific gas pipeline from the new discoveries to this mid-country power plants. And I was good with computers, so I started formatting his reports. And then I said, I like this work. He said, if you like this work, I'm happy to, give you 50% if you can find a client. And somehow I did some work for Premier Oil. They liked it, so they said, we need this Chotu in our office. So he said, okay. So that my accounting job finished a few weeks after it started. The only accounting job I've ever done, and I became what they used to call Kaka consultant. I became a consultant for a British oil company in my early 20s.
Wow.
And
No, it's amazing how the bridges basically that lead us from one thing to the next in ways that we would never really imagine, right? So you leveraged that CMA for what it was useful for.
yeah, I was still studying actually. I was still studying.
Ah, wow. Okay.
And I just had another job. So then I started working there. And when my CMA was completed, they said, we will take you as a business analyst, Premier Oil
Okay.
said. And then I just shifted there permanently.
And so where we started was sort of where you are today and kind of what led you there. And you rattled off a bunch of different changes that you were there for, in terms of this journey in the sector. Along the way, I mean, there must have been a lot of other people who could have potentially been, qualified for a leadership role to head the Uzbek operations. What do you think helped you surface throughout this time in a field of a lot of different people who might have had maybe more relevant academic background, some experience prior. What made you surface and be able to get to the role you are today?
I think relationships, I guess I was easier to work with, and EQ rather than IQ.
So I mean, those are important headlines, but what does it mean for you? I mean, how like when you think about relationships and you think about EQ, what kind of actions do you think led to you having a knack for that, and being a bit different?
I think more naturally, but like whenever I had different bosses, and I've always been rated very well. And one common theme is I don't get rattled. I don't know, for some reason, I never would shy away from a challenge. And working, I think, I don't know, for some reason I was lucky. I think, no, I'm serious.
I can tell you it's because you're running an oil company and you're so humble, mashallah. I think people
No,
can,
just things just happen. So
things just
so it just kept happening. So still happening.
But somehow they don't happen to other people. Why are they happening to you, right? So I think one of the things to reflect on is no, I appreciate that perspective of it. You said it a couple of times. You were like, I wasn't so great at this, wasn't so great at that, just happened to be here, I got lucky, etc. But I think in reflecting and in interviewing and speaking with a lot of people in leadership positions, there's different characters, and you find that ones that have you have a certain calming effect and a confidence in the way that you are without being aggressive, which you might think of in that world, that it's a more of a cutthroat world, especially in an emerging market. So I'm curious as to how you're able to navigate that, almost like a counterbalance. Maybe my perception is wrong, but I would imagine in this world that there's a lot of people who are maybe on the other end of the spectrum in terms of a style of leadership. And how have you navigated that?
I mean, like I said, I don't take myself very seriously. I just go by some very basic principles. Be transparent, be clear in your communication.
Yeah.
And learn to say no, and learn to say whatever is in your mind, but nicely. So I guess it worked. And quite honestly, a lot of people are trying to do too many things.
Yeah.
And trying to, I guess, at times they have different agendas. If you are loyal and if you are focused, and like I said, I wasn't too ambitious also, but I had absolutely, like, if I can say, I was the youngest in my grade probably throughout my career, in my job grade. Maybe because I started early, but more importantly, I think just a lot of people had a lot of issues with that in my various organizations that I worked for. But I was able to work with. I think that's the thing. If you give me a gardening job, I'll be fine with that. If you ask me to run a company, I'll be fine with that. Never complained like that. So I think that's what they saw. And I just somehow kept finding projects for the different companies, kept thinking outside the box, because I couldn't think too much about the job at hand because I wasn't that great at it. So they thought, this is the ideas guy. So let's put him in business development. So then went into business development, and I was able to develop business, I guess. So that's that.
Any other mentors along the journey besides the initial one that you want to share with us?
So Brandt was very good. He was, again, a very interesting person. And basically through him, I got to understand the most fun side of energy sector. How you basically bring resource to market, how do you develop resources, not get into the technical sides. Unfortunately, he died young. He had an accident, but at least I learned a lot from him. Since then, there were some folks in my organization, like British Petroleum. They guided me in how big organizations work. I was actually put in a leadership program by BP. Only like out of 70,000 people, they just had 256, and the only Pakistani was me. So they were
And
using.
by the way, guys, he's not ambitious. Yeah.
Yes, I am not. I'm not. I left it.
MashaAllah.
So they were basically training us to be the next leadership of the group.
That's
So
incredible.
I was supposed to then travel across the globe. So my first assignment was in the US. Went there, worked for a couple of years almost, and ended up with a huge disaster in Gulf of Mexico, where the company almost got bankrupt. After that, I ended